This is the brand new Garmin Approach Z10 rangefinder, and it has one of the coolest features of any rangefinder I have ever tested. But coming in at a retail price of $299, there is a ton of competition and some very good products in that price range. Not to mention, you also have the Approach Z30, which costs $200 more and does very similar things. Today, I'm doing a full review of the Z10. I'm going to tell you what I like, what I don't, and help you figure out if this is a rangefinder you should buy. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. All right, so before we go into comparisons or performance or anything else, I want to establish what makes the Z10 so unique, because it does something that no other rangefinder, aside from the Z30, does, and it legitimately feels like magic. So what makes these rangefinders so cool is its compatibility with a Garmin Golf watch. So if you're using a Garmin Golf watch on the course, or select other Garmin devices like this is the G82 GPS, also compatible with this rangefinder, it does something that is nothing short of magic. So let's say you're out in the middle of the fairway, you're 200 yards away, you shoot the flag. Immediately after shooting the flag, you look down at your watch, and it is now marked exactly where on the green the flag is. So it's basically taking a combination of the GPS from your watch, the course mapping that Garmin has done, and your exact laser distance to mark exactly where on the green the flag is. So when you do that, you look down, it'll switch to green view mode, so you can see exactly where the pin is. So if you're not sure if the pin is in the front or the back or the left or the right, your watch is going to tell you that data. But then it does something even cooler. It will remember for the entirety of that hole exactly where on the green the flag is and how far you are away from the pin. So let's say you're 200 yards out, you duff your next shot, you're 150 yards out, you look down at your GPS, rather than giving you a generic distance to the center of the green, that center number is going to be the actual distance to the flag. So the way the Z10 and a Garmin Golf watch interact together legitimately feels like magic. It is one of my favorite golf tech features on any device that I have ever used. And as someone who is always using a Garmin Golf watch when I play, I often keep a Garmin rangefinder in my bag just for that extra feature. So along with the watch magic, there's one more cool thing that this does. So you're looking through it, you shoot the flag, it will then give you the number of yards to the back of the green from the flag, as well as the number of yards to the front of the green. So let's say the flag is positioned near the front of the green. The bottom number might say 5, indicating it is 5 yards away from the front of the green, and the back number might say 20, saying that the flag is 20 yards from the back of the green. Giving you that knowledge of exactly where the pin is on the green is just genuinely useful information, and the fact that it works so seamlessly is definitely one of the coolest things about this. So now that we've established what makes these Garmin Golf rangefinders unique, let's talk about the differences between the two of them, and then we're going to talk about the performance of the new Z10 and figure out if it's even worth buying. There are really only 4 major things that are different between these two devices that I could find, and 3 of those probably aren't going to matter for you. So one is the design, which honestly, they're not that different. Like, I can't even call that a major difference. I personally like the looks and the form factor a little bit better on the older Z30, but the two are very, very similar. It seems like they mostly just kind of inverted the color scheme. If we're nitpicking, I would say the Z30 feels a little bit more high-end and a little bit more polished, but essentially for most people, build quality, aesthetic differences, really not gonna matter. The second major change is the Z30 can range flags at 400 yards. The Z10 can only range flags at 350 yards. Once again, that's not gonna matter to most people, because most people aren't sitting on the tee trying to range distances from like 500 yards away on a par 5. You're gonna get into the middle of the fairway, likely within 350 yards, and this is going to be just fine on the Z10. So 2 of the 3 major differences, really not that big of a deal. The third difference between these two things, and I guess this could go into build quality, so the Z10 is only IPX4 rated, whereas the Z30 is IPX7 rated. So essentially what that means is you can get this wet, you can get like a splash of water on the Z10, it's gonna be totally fine, but if you submerge it in water for any amount of time, you could run into issues. Whereas the Z30 at IPX7, that means you can submerge it in light water for a short amount of time and it should be fine. Again, for most people, under most circumstances, really not going to matter that much. And finally, that brings us to the 4th difference between these two devices, and this is the one that actually is going to matter. This is the one you're going to notice on a day-to-day basis. The Z30 has a beautiful, sharp red OLED display, whereas the Z10 only has a black PLDC display. So basically, even though the optics and the glass look good on both of these, red display, black display. $200 difference. So just to recap, slight aesthetic differences. One can range a flag 50 yards farther. One's slightly more waterproof, and one has a red display and one has a black display. So that's pretty much it. And the fact there is a $200 price difference between these two devices make the Z10 kind of a no-brainer recommendation. Okay, so now let's talk about the Approach Z10 specifically. Presentation, if you have ever bought any Garmin golf product, you know exactly what you're getting. Same gray box, no frills packaging, but it's Garmin, so they don't need to do anything fancy, but you won't find any surprises here. From a setup perspective, things could not be easier. You literally go into your Garmin device, you go to settings, you go to accessories, you hit add new, it will start searching for any nearby accessories. You don't have to do anything on the Z10 itself aside from just hit the power button to wake it up. Your watch will automatically find it, it will automatically pair, and you are good to go. That initial setup process is so seamless, and in a world where some of these golf tech products that have to pair to a Bluetooth app every time you use it can be a little cumbersome, a little time consuming, the fact that this works so well is a really nice surprise. But more importantly than that is how easy it is to use every single time you go out after that initial setup. So you start the round on your watch, you've got your rangefinder close by, they will automatically pair, there is nothing for you to do. You can literally leave this rangefinder in your bag, put on your watch, start your round, pull out the rangefinder on the first hole, and it is immediately and seamlessly going to connect and start giving you that data. So the fact they make it so easy to use on every round is something that definitely sets Garmin apart from some other brands that are out there. So now let's talk about performance on the course, and honestly, the Z10 is almost identical in terms of performance to the Z30, and that is both a good thing and a bad thing. When it comes to using this as just a basic rangefinder, it is totally fine. It's useful, it's serviceable, it's accurate, it is fine. It's not the absolute fastest rangefinder you're ever going to use. It certainly doesn't have the absolute best display and best optics, where so many other brands now have these dual color OLED screens. You go back and use the black screen on the Z10 and it's fine. It's totally serviceable, but you're not gonna be like, oh my gosh, that looks so good. It looks fine. It looks like a traditional, $200 rangefinder, which isn't to say it looks bad, it just doesn't look nearly as good as some other newer models in comparison, including the Z30, which does have a big, beautiful bright red display. Another performance issue that's really not that big of a deal, but it's something that you notice, is you shoot the flag and it will usually take about 2 seconds for the GPS numbers to show up. So basically what happens, you're gonna shoot the flag, it's pretty fast, pretty responsive, but not the absolute fastest compared to other models out there. You'll then see a Bluetooth icon flash up above, and another second or so later, you will then get those GPS yardages to the front and the back from where the pin is. And then at that time, you will automatically see it down on your watch as well. Because this process isn't totally instantaneous, it's not like you shoot the flag and then at the exact same time, you've got those GPS yardages. You shoot the flag and then a couple seconds later, you get the yardages. It can have the tendency to slow you down just a little bit. Not the end of the world, it's not so slow that it really gets in the way that much, but if you're used to using a rangefinder that gives you instantaneous feedback, you might notice that little delay. One thing I will note when it comes to accuracy of the GPS, and this is pretty much the same thing I found in the Z30, is it will nail the exact location of the pin, call it like 70% of the time. Sometimes you'll shoot it, maybe if you're further away or if you're off at an angle, and it won't get the pin position exactly right in the overlay of the GPS screen. The vast majority of the time, it's either correct or very much in the right ballpark to give you useful information, but every once in a while you'll get one that's like, well, I don't think that's actually where this is. I will say it does feel like it has improved since my initial testing of the Z30 when it came out, but it is still something that happens occasionally. Also, for me personally, the way the GPS yardages are displayed in the viewfinder, where it doesn't just give you the yardage to the front and back of the green, it shows you the difference between the flag to the front and the back, I would prefer to just see the actual yardage. Give me the number to the actual flag, and then give me the actual GPS yardage to the front and the back, or at least make that an option. That's one of the things we've seen with the Bluetooth Captain Pro, where it has a very configurable display where it really allows you to see whatever data you would like within the viewfinder. I think that for me, the improvement I would like to see in any of these Garmin rangefinders is that ability to customize that display. Let me be in charge of how I see GPS data. Give me the option to get club recommendations in the device, because if you're using Garmin, especially if you have CT10 sensors, it has the ability to do club tracking and give you recommended clubs based on your own data. But honestly, most of these things that I'm mentioning, they're all pretty nitpicky things. The reality is using the Z10 is awesome, if you are a Garmin user. Which brings us to who should buy this device. If you are not a Garmin user, if you do not use a Garmin watch or you don't use a Garmin GPS, then I probably would not recommend you buy the Z10. It's not that it's bad, it's just that for under $300, you can get a Voice Caddy TL1 or a Bluetooth Captain Pro, both of which are devices that have better screens, better display, more features, and are a little bit faster at giving you numbers than this one is. But if you are a Garmin watch user, if you track all of your rounds using a Garmin smartwatch, then despite some of my critiques and despite maybe the less than perfect things about this, I would probably buy this rangefinder. For $300 to get that compatibility between the rangefinder and a watch, Honestly, I've been using this feature for over a year and it still has not gotten old. It is still incredibly useful. It still feels like magic, and it really does enhance the usability as well as the enjoyment of being in the Garmin Golf ecosystem on the golf course. And if you are a Garmin Golf user and you're interested in this rangefinder, you may be saying, well, should I buy the Z10 or should I buy the Z30? Honestly, the display on the Z30 is really nice. It does enhance the experience. But for $200 less, the Z10 basically does everything that the Z30 does. It does it just as well, it does it just as accurately. And aside from those 4 differences, which we talked about earlier, which are aesthetics, 50-yard difference in flag lock capability, waterproof rating, and the different screen optics, aside from those, these things are essentially identical, and I do not think it's worth paying an extra $200 for the Z30 when performance and usability and all the real-world stuff, all the important stuff, is pretty much identical. One thing I will note though, especially if you were watching this a few months down the line after this video comes out, is I have seen sales on the Z30. So when the Z30 first launched, it launched at $399. At some point, whether it was due to tariffs or inflation, that bumped up to $499. But earlier this year, Garmin was running a sale where you could get the Z30 for $349. Are we going to see that again? I don't know. But if we do happen to see that sale again, and it's only a $50 difference between these two devices, yeah, then I would pay the extra $50 for the better display. $200 difference? No, we're gonna go with the Z10. Either way, I was totally caught off guard when Garmin released this. I love the fact that we can now get this technology at a lower price, and I think that if you're a Garmin user and you pick this up, despite some nitpicky critiques, I think you're going to be very happy with this because, like I said, it's got one of the coolest features of all the golf tech products I have reviewed. And if after this video you're still not sure if one of these is right for you, or you've decided that something else might be a better fit, go take a look at my full list of the best golf rangefinders on the market. I've got options for every golfer, regardless of budget, regardless of what features you want, regardless of what you're looking for. You will find what you're looking for in that list if it is not one of these. With that, my name is Sean Ogle. I'm the founder of this thing here at Breaking 80, where we talk about cool golf products and cool golf courses. Are you on our newsletter? And if you're not, what are you waiting for? I send out the best deals in golf 1 to 2 times a week. I track all the best deals so that you don't have to. And if you like any cool golf stuff and you want to make sure you don't miss a big sale, that is one of the best ways to do it. With that, I hope you have an excellent day, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.